Yeah,
really
so
good.
an incredibly short episode.
Yeah, this is pretty. I think this is one of the shortest ones we've ever done.
Oh, this is gonna take forever.
Have fun editing this, Trey.
Welcome back to the Financial Illiterates. This is episode number 18. That's financial as you find in the dictionary, and ILLITERATES. That might be the best intro I've ever done, I think.
That was smooth. It's like you just wrapped it out.
Yeah, we're getting on point here. These video podcasts are going. The audio. It took me, it only took me like 4 days to edit the last one.
Yeah, and then I still have to do some promotion around it. So we're technically not done with the last one.
Yeah, but if you haven't watched it, check it out. Links in the show notes / description, whichever thing you're watching or listening this thing on.
Yeah, we're almost everywhere now.
What did we talk about last week anyways?
Let's see, we talked about managing impatience.
Right.
Now you can make sure you don't do anything too stupid with your money that doesn't set you back from your long-term goals.
Right. Yes, that thing. Being
So for this week, what do we...
impatient.
Yes, that's it. Patiently impatient. So what are we talking about this week?
What are we talking about this week? Oh, right. Yes. So we were going to talk about this Stephan video that I watched. It was he did like a spin on the 7 habits of a highly effective human person.
People. Just people. They're people.
So he did the 7 habits of highly effective money or something like that. And I thought they were pretty interesting. I had opinions, both agreeing and disagreeing with some of them, I think. So I thought it could be good to just go over them and get your thoughts and my thoughts and, all the things.
Yeah. Yeah, an intro to Graham, for those that aren't familiar with him. He's a real estate investor and a real estate agent in the Southern California area, but he has been on his content game and actually producing some really valuable stuff around making money, managing money, personal finance. And it's something that I found very valuable. And what about you, Trey?
Yeah, for sure. I watch his content like at least 3 or 4 times a day.
Yeah. And
I like crazy.
It. I like it mostly just because it's very practical and straight to the point. And then he includes a lot of humor in there too, so it makes it fun to watch.
Yeah. Have you watched any of his reaction videos on his new channel, Stephan Show? Which we'll put links to all this stuff in the description.
Yeah, I have not.
They're
even
hilarious.
Though we're kind of doing. We're doing a reaction to one of his videos, so
that's what gave me the idea.
Yeah,
Granted, ours is not going to be near as funny as his. He does reaction videos to this show on CNBC's YouTube channel called Millennial Money, and as the title points out, it's just hilarious. Anyways, you should watch that. It's really good. 2 things before we jump into this. One, I still don't have a laptop screen over here to look at notes, so I'm going to look over here when I don't know what I'm talking about, because I wrote them all down over here. And 2, I've had this gnat flying around my office for 2 days now. So if I just randomly start clapping and kind of look like I'm having a seizure, I'm not. I'm just trying to kill this thing. Just getting that out of the way.
You got to do faster hands, not just the clapping. You got to do like ninja arms.
Yeah, I was doing that yesterday, and I almost took my desk down. So I got to be careful with that too. So
okay, maybe don't do that.
All right. So, wow, we just really front loaded the randomness onto this episode.
We really did. Let's talk about the video.
Let's talk about the video. What is the number 1 habit? Do you have it pulled up? I hope.
I do. I can go through these since your screen isn't right in front of you.
Okay, cool, because it's weird for me to look all the way over here.
So the official title is 7 Highly Effective Habits of Making Money. Okay? The first one that he covers is the first habit of making money is to start tracking your spending immediately. So very much like what we did with budgeting and tracking our expenses.
Yeah, I don't agree with that at all. He's wrong. He's wrong. It's just wrong. It's the worst thing you could do. No, I'm just kidding. No, YNAB saved my life.
Yep. And I wonder if he listed it as like the first habit, as in like these are the steps to do it. But like for me, at least, this was the very first thing I had to do in order to start becoming financially literate, because I had to know where my cash was coming in from. So obviously my job, but more importantly, where I was spending that money. And that really comes down to tracking your expenses.
Yeah, and this wasn't the first thing for me. The first thing for me was getting on top of my credit cards. And then this was like a very, very close second because this was required for me to continue to stay on top of my credit cards. But it is like, I would say like a foundational component and one of the first 1 or 2 steps, depending on your situation, of progressing towards financial independence.
Yep. And hold on to that point too, because I don't think he mentions anything in here about paying down debt, but we'll get to that. Ready for number 2?
Yeah. What do we got? Let's find something we disagree with. Probably not going to happen.
Probably not. Second one is pay yourself first. Does that sound familiar?
Okay. Yeah. So you and I were talking about this yesterday. This one gets to me a little bit. I agree with it. So let me just start there, Graham, because I know you're watching this, or listening, or whatever. I agree with this. I think like a lot of times it makes a lot of sense, but it's a lot harder to do in practice. Like when you're living paycheck to paycheck, how are you just gonna all of a sudden be like, cool, I'm gonna pay myself. Oh, I should say what paying myself first means because people might not know that. The concept of pay yourself first is basically before even you pay taxes on your money or you pay any of your expenses, you allocate a certain percentage and you pay yourself. And the idea is that money then goes into your investments and you're basically paying yourself for your future self. Is that a good description of the content, you think?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's perfect.
So the problem that I have with that is if you're living paycheck to paycheck like I was, you can't just say, cool, I'm going to pay myself 10%. Because like you don't have 10%. And like you can't just stop paying your bills. So for me, I had to like find some space first. That's where like paying off the credit card debt, budgeting, starting to cut some stuff back. And now, like literally just now, I'm to the point where I can start figuring out how to pay myself first.
And how long have you been diligently working at this to pay yourself first?
6 months.
Okay. That's not too bad.
I really started down this process around Christmas. At Christmas time, I released a vlog that said I spent $25,000 in less than a minute, and that was me paying off my credit cards using another loan, which I think we talked about in another episode. But since then, I've been really diligently focused on this sort of thing. So it's been 6 months before I can even consider it. And I've had the fortunate capability of increasing my income a decent amount in that time, which has given me a lot more headroom.
Yep, I totally agree. This is actually a topic covered in Rich Dad, Poor Dad, one of my favorite intros to personal finance and financial literacy.
What's number 3?
Ready for number 3? Be very aware of lifestyle inflation.
Oh my God.
And this one hits home for me.
Oh my God. Lifestyle inflation. Or if you want to put it in scientific terms, hedonic adaptation.
Jesus Christ.
What is that? That's a little Matt D'Avella gem for you there.
Yep, that sounds very Matt D'Avella. I like it.
The concept of hedonic adaptation is as things increase in your life, they basically become the new normal. So Matt D'Avella video, and the only reason I like can say what the video was specifically about is because I watched it recently. It's not because I just have all of his videos cataloged in my brain. But the way that he described it, amazing videos. The way that he described it was basically he took you through a journey of buying a toaster. How you do all this research about a toaster. You're so excited about this toaster. This toaster's going to change my life. It's going to enable me to have a better morning and just a better, more successful life. And then you buy the toaster, and the toaster's just your best friend for like a month. And then time goes by, and the toaster just sits there. It's become the new normal. That's basically how he presents the whole thing.
Adaptation.
And that is hedonic adaptation and also lifestyle inflation. As you start to make more money, you make $80,000 and then you make $100,000. Well, that extra $20,000, that's amazing. That's new. It's incredible. And then you end up spending it to reward yourself. Reward yourself is the word I was looking for. Reward yourself. And then all of a sudden it's the new normal. and now you're still paycheck to paycheck at $100,000, which is also how I ended up paycheck to paycheck at like $190,000 or $200,000, which is ridiculous.
Yep.
So
it's basically as your income rises, your expenses rise too. And I'm guilty of this.
Exactly. Yep.
I got one of my first raises last year, and cars are a passion of mine, and I'm not buying cars to be fancy. They're just more of toys and have some fun with. But I went out and bought a new car after I got a raise. So that's definitely lifestyle inflation, and that's the one I ended up selling.
And it's an incredibly hard one to control, and we'll do an episode on some of my financial account restructuring that I'm working on right now to help solve that for me. But it's a hard one to control, because that paycheck just drops right into your checking account, and well, why not?
Yep.
Why not go out to dinner, or buy the car, or whatever?
Yeah. All right. Number 4. Anytime you invest, have a long-term outlook. I agree.
I do. I think
totally agree.
I think there's a certain definition of invest here. Like my definition of invest is long term, but I think that's not to say that you can't be successful in a career or a day job, and I would classify it more as a job in something like day trading or swing trading and things like that. I don't think this point is to say that stuff is ineffective, because it is effective if you're good at it. I warned you.
Did you get it?
I warned you. I did not get it. I did not get it, but I did warn you.
You did.
It was literally landing on my face, and I couldn't take it. I couldn't take it.
I can't wait to see this video.
Number 5.
One last point for number 4. He specifically references stock market investing, or just looking at the S&P 500 and how it's not always up and up. There are dips, but if you invest for the long term, you will ultimately gain.
Yeah, so. And I'll also reclassify that, because I think a lot of times people say stuff like that where it's up and up and up and there's dips, but normal people that are investing, when they think dips, it's 1-2% maybe, but they're freaking craters and valleys sometimes. There can be years where you lose 20% potentially in really, really bad years, but overall it is up.
Yep. Okay, number 5. When it comes to investing, invest your time first and your money second.
When it comes to investing, invest your time first and your money second. What are your thoughts on that? I don't have an immediate reaction.
I think it's on point. For example, if I actually made this mistake building a couple of apps right out of college, I saved up and invested a lot of my money first in trying to build these apps, rather than spending my time maybe doing more customer development and fleshing out the real problems that I was trying to solve with this product. So I invested money in trying to just build the thing, rather than my time trying to do just more research and hands-on work.
Interesting. Yeah, because when I think of this originally, I think of spending money to save time, because time is the most valuable asset. So I don't know. It kind of depends on the context in which it was said, I would say, because I have a large yard and I pay someone to do that. I'm not going to invest my time to do that, because it's not worth it. I think it's an ROI calculation is really how to look at it.
This isn't binary.
Yeah, and in your example, the ROI was higher to invest your time on customer development for the future return versus putting cash in.
Yeah. And it's I was doing a little bit of both, but I put cash in right alongside the customer development, and I should have invested time first, and then that would have helped refine kind of where I place my bets with the money.
Yep.
He does have another video that he put out. I'm not sure if it was super recent, but it was basically how to build passive income with $0. And he prefaces
just watched that one yesterday.
But he talks about, if you don't have any money to invest, you have to invest your time, either creating content or doing gigs for free. Like,
100%
you gotta
agree with
invest your
that.
time.
And that's not where my head went when I read this, because it was like an or statement. And in that case, you can't choose to invest your money because you don't have it.
Yeah, that's true. So,
But
number
I
5,
do agree. Like, if you don't have money to invest, it's not just going to show up.
Yep. Okay.
What are we on?
6.
6.
We're on 6 now.
Ooh, this is going to be a long video.
All right. I know. I'm already looking at this. It's like we're 15, 16 minutes in.
Yep.
All right. The biggest piece of advice that he gives is that if you want to make a lot of money, you need to do something that pays on results, not time. And the first thing that comes to mind for me is sales and being commission-based versus hourly.
Yep. That's exactly what he listed in the video, is sales, real estate, those sorts of commission-based things.
Yep. I don't have any disagreements there. 100%.
Yeah, no, I think this is more of a clarification video for me than a disagreement video. But again, like we've talked about this a lot recently. I don't think there's any other career that you could take that has uncapped earning potential at all outside of a sales type career. We've both considered looking at sales jobs recently because of it. So if you are in a situation to make that leap, I think you probably should.
Yeah, or if you're already doing it, then keep doing it. All right.
That was
number
insightful.
7. Yeah, I try. I'm fucking losing steam right now.
All right, number 7.
If there's something you want to buy,
yes,
make sure your investments pay for it. And I love this idea. It is honestly something I have not thought of, and it's something I am starting to implement now.
Yes, I totally agree. Sorry, my wife's texting me about lunch. Do not disturb. Kimmy, I'm busy. This is another one, kind of like the pay yourself first, only sort of, in the fact that it's really hard to do, because it's like until you reach a certain amount of dollars that are invested, it's hard to get a significant dollar value return, right? Like.
Yep.
So like a good example here is I want to get myself to the point where I can pay my rent with an investment. But like my house is $4,000 a month. So what's that basic math here? So that's $800,000 that need to be invested at 6% return. So that's a lot. So I think it's a great goal, but like I don't know. I don't think that you should entirely sacrifice all your happiness to abide by all these rules to the T.
Right.
So that's all I would say about that one.
Yeah, I agree. And he throws in one extra one.
An 8th.
There's an 8th. So it's really
the analogy's destroyed.
The 8 highly effective habits of making money. It's basically around the idea that you should try and do something that you enjoy. You'll be more enthusiastic about it, and at some point it'll just become fun. And since this is, again, like careers in most cases are very long-term plays, like you're doing this for 20 or 30 years, and if you hate every minute of it, like you might just be miserable in general.
Yeah.
So if you can find something you enjoy, then it'll be a lot easier to do well at it.
Yes, and I completely agree, but I'm going to clarify more.
Yes, do clarify, because I got some notes here too.
I've spent a lot of the last 2 years thinking about the whole concept of do what you love. Like it's a lot of what my YouTube content and stuff has been around. But what I've learned is a lot of people take that to the micro level. And what I mean by that is they believe that they should love every day of their work. And that's not necessarily true. You're going to have bad days no matter what you're doing. And then additionally, like they feel like they should love the career. Let me find an example. Okay, they feel like they should love, let's say, software engineering. But they might just find that one piece of it that they love. Like they might just like teaching other people coding rather than actually coding, if that makes sense. Yep. Like I feel like you should be passionate about what you do, but you also need to be creative about framing that.
Yep.
And like you're gonna, if you really want to be really successful, you're gonna have to do stuff that you don't like. Just try and figure out how to make that not a 24/7 thing. And remember, like, you're gonna have a lot of rough and bad days. Like, it just happens.
Yeah, much to your point, like, it's not all gonna be good. So to go into that expectation, like, you're really setting yourself up for failure. And
yeah, exactly. Like, I know plenty of people that absolutely love what they do, but have had like a horrible like 2 or 3 months, and then they end up quitting their job because it's like something else. But that doesn't mean that they stopped loving what they do. It's just outside circumstances made it tough, and you know.
Yeah, that's like it's a lot of what Gary Vaynerchuk talks about in his content. Like,
yeah,
you're gonna have to eat some shit. Like, what if you do something that you don't like for 3 to 5, 10 years, so that it enables you to do something that you really do like for the next 20 years?
Yeah, and I know Gary struggles with this exact same thing where people take it a little too macro, where or micro, I should say, where they think that every day should be, you know, sunshine and rainbows, but that's just not the case. Like, I love this this focus on financial independence and building business around that, but like that doesn't mean that every day is easy. Like,
right.
By the 4th day of editing the last podcast, it wasn't my favorite podcast anymore.
Yeah, you spent a lot of time editing that video, and now this one.
Oh, and I thought this one was going to be easier, but then my microphone recording dies in the middle of it.
Yeah. Well, that wraps up Graham's tips, which
that's it.
You know, for the most part, we agreed with.
Yeah. Really so good. An incredibly short episode.
Yeah, this is pretty. I think this is one of the shortest ones we've ever done.
Oh, this is gonna take forever.
Have fun editing this, Trey.
Oh no, it was a good conversation. I want to do more of these. There's a lot of really good financial content out there, and it's a lot of where like our knowledge comes from. But yeah, like I think we both have our like very unique takes on all of those pieces, and I think that's one of the big things with financial independence and finance and just life in general is you have to take a bunch of like. You kind of have to consume a lot of different views and then pick and choose the pieces that make the most sense for you and the things that like fit you the most. So like it takes a decent amount of self-awareness and then consumption of a lot of different things. So I'm hoping that we can enable some of that for some of the people listening.
Yep.
But I like doing these sorts of things because of that.
Yeah. And one that we didn't even mention that, you know, we've kind of been digging into lately is like a lot of Grant Cardone's content.
Yes.
And he talks about paying yourself first a lot too, which is one of the things that Graham mentioned.
And he's just extremely, extremely blunt and controversial. So he would be interesting to go through some of that and talk about how like the pieces that we took. That could be a good episode in and of itself. But we are trying to get on top of things a little bit more, get a little more consistent, a little bit more structure.
Structure, yeah.
So we already kind of know what we're going to talk about next week, unless we change our minds, because we might.
We could totally do that.
And that was right. The future value of money, which sounds like an incredibly boring thing, but it's actually a really powerful concept to understand.
Yep.
I've had a couple of conversations with people recently and realized that it's a rather hard concept to explain. So if we take 30 minutes, I might be able to do it. I'm just kidding. Hopefully it won't be 30 minutes next week.
See if we can do 10 to 15 next week.
Ooh, yeah, we'll try and keep it shorter. Maybe next time we won't review a whole video that's got 8 points on it.
Yeah, we'll see.
Anyways, all right. Anything else you wanted to talk about? How's that newsletter coming?
Newsletter will be ready. How many people do we have on our list?
We don't want to talk about that.
Newsletter will be ready for all those people that subscribe.
Go sign up for the newsletter because Justin needs someone to send it to. Please. All right, cool.
Anyway.
Well, I think that's it. And my wife is now calling me. So that's it for today. As usual, Gustin Jabriel on Twitter, Trobrock on Twitter, thefinancialilliterates.com. All of the links and things that we talked about will be in the description. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.